Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Lawyer Forward podcast. I'm Mike Whalen. This week, we're having a special series to commemorate the launch of our new ebook, Lawyers Don't Care About Your Chatbot, a pragmatist's guide to legal tech marketing in the age of zero click. You can get your copy if you go to lawyersdon'tcare.com. To commemorate the launch of that ebook, we were talking to smart friends about speaking to lawyers, including my best twinsy buddy ever, Nick Rishwain. Nick, how are you?
I'm doing very well, Mike. Thanks for having me. You're talking with special smart people, and I'm the first one on this specific series, so that's it sounded like.
I feel like there's been 4 interviews before you, but it's all uphill.
You made
from
me
here,
feel
though.
special temporarily.
Everything gets better. Nick, you and I have not spoken together professionally, really, maybe ever, but in years. And we told the internet that we were going to get together and have a conversation. The internet got excited. Specifically, I want to talk to you about your role in speaking to lawyers, how you are speaking on the internet, what's getting traction. So let's start with your weird background. What is it you do? What do you do anyway? Do you even have a job?
Yes, I do.
Oh.
I do. I am one of the owners, and I am the Vice President, Client Relations and Development at experts.com, and for expert witnesses and consultants. Lawyers can hire us to find experts, or they can search our site and contact those who market their expertise on our site. They can contact them directly. So we have kind of a twofold marketplace here, one for lawyers, one for experts, essentially.
So is it different in terms of how you reach out to the 2 different groups? Are you accessing experts differently than you do with lawyers usually?
Absolutely. Yeah. Experts are interested in learning about expert witnessing. They're interested in learning how to communicate with more lawyers. They want more visibility in more cases, and lawyers are interested in solving a very specific problem at a specific time.
So what are your principal marketing channels now?
LinkedIn, email.
Sorry, is that for both, or is that for one particular audience?
Both. LinkedIn, email is probably primary, I would say. And then LinkedIn, YouTube, less used today are probably Instagram and Twitter, though Twitter was obviously one time really great channel for all of us in legal tech.
Twitter. I could rant about this all day. I feel like my whole life changed when Twitter came on the scene, and then it totally changed when it went away. And a lot of tactics changed. And it's probably honestly more associated with the rise of TikTok, right? Because the short form video thing happened, attention spans got shorter, but also the way TikTok really leaned on the For You feed instead of the Hey, your friends are saying feed. There's I think it's the guy who founded Patreon who did that talk called The Death of the Follower, the idea that people are just not subscribing to your stuff and seeing your stuff because it's all the algorithms putting it in front of you. Mm-hmm. Has that shift in terms of your friends are telling you so-and-so versus here's Nick Rishwain dancing with pineapples in the background talking about being an expert online. Has that changed how you talk to the market?
So I think I need to kind of balance it here because you've seen that I put out, I'm sure you watch every one of them, right? From beginning to end, the experts.com files, which is like a 90-second video where I recap one of our expert cases. Well, I was posting those on Twitter, across the board, and started posting them on TikTok. And while the views were really great on TikTok, I was getting phone calls from crazy people who thought I was a practicing lawyer or thought that I had I could help them in some legal or expert capacity. It was not the audience that I wanted us to have. It was not helping sell.
You wanted fully different crazy people, just a completely
totally
different set of
Correct.
Right.
Yep. On LinkedIn, the views aren't there. On LinkedIn or even on Instagram, the views aren't the same. The reach is not the same. But we get the clientele that we're looking for, largely expert witnesses. They like to know that we've processed all these cases in the past to attorneys, and attorneys loved the videos. In fact, YouTube was one of the interesting ones where the guy just picked up and called me after watching the YouTube video that was exactly the case that he was currently working on. Like, it was, which is not uncommon. The fact pattern was very similar. So the short form videos are good for us. The channels differ from what I expected.
I wonder, do you find, I'm going to talk myself into 2 reasons you should keep posting on TikTok. This is me self-rationalizing, and then you're going to tell me why it's stupid. So I said it. So one, I could imagine, since these platforms, if I'm talking to my wife in my room about needing brown shoes, and then 2 seconds later, the platforms are all like, hey, have you ever thought about brown shoes before? I could talk myself into some cross-platform awareness where LinkedIn sees something take off on TikTok and then says, hey, this could be popular. Maybe they're taking it as a proxy. I don't know that that's true. I could see that as an argument. And the other that I could see is just sort of the network effect of, yeah, you might not be getting the actual lawyer or expert by posting on TikTok, but you might get their sister, brother, dog, friend over there. Is the lift of putting it on these multiple platforms, has the technology gotten to the point where the lift is low enough that it's worth just putting things out, or do you think that that detracts?
That's a great question. It is probably easy enough for me to post over there without any real downside other than like our going through some strange times in their lives. Yeah, I don't think that it's bad to post over there. It was just one more step that I didn't want to do, right? Because the thing today is that you upload natively to each one, right? It's that helps the algorithm. So it's just one more time constraint for me while I'm trying to do a lot of other things for my customers and and talk to lawyers. And so it was just one more item. You have to record the video in a separate platform, usually just your phone platform, and then upload it independently on LinkedIn, Instagram.
Well, and of course, people will make the argument that each platform has its own culture. So literally, if you make a video for Instagram and then go put it on Twitter, you're going to get different outcomes. I don't know if in a B2B communication, we're not building media companies. We're doing content marketing. We're not creators doing content. We're doing content marketing. I don't know how you figure out the trade-off. I do. I'm going to say something positive about you, and so
That'll
stop
be
the
tough
recording.
for you.
We'll stop the recording. But I do. The reason I like the sort of expert stories that you tell of these case stories is they're freaking ridiculous. Like some of the funny. I did family law for a while. The funniest, most ridiculous stories come out of other people's worst life moments. I'm sorry, it is just true. But also, I like content that is really aligned to the product that you're trying to sell, right? So, I'll give the example of when I was doing the contract teardown show for Linesider. Linesider was a database of contracts. If I'm in that show walking through a contract, I can show the contract, right, in a PDF on YouTube. I can also unblock the problem that is making them not use Linesider. So you see all the samples on Linesider and you're like, what the heck do I do with this now? Well, the show answered that. This is what you do with it, right? And so it was really aligned content. I like what you're doing with experts because it does that in a way. It's compelling, it's interesting, like on its own. It is quality storytelling and media on its own, but it also really highlights where having experts step in, where a lawyer might say, hey, I need an expert for this particular thing. It's aligned with the product. Do you do that on purpose, or are you just amazing? Is it accidental, your amazingness?
My point is to share what we do behind the scenes, right? Because most people hear expert witness, and if you're not in the legal field, you don't know what it is. You just have no clue. You've seen it on CSI Miami or something like that. I specifically do it because I'm trying to sell marketing to one side, and I'm trying to sell a service to another side. So the only way I can do that is tell people about the previous cases we have, which are often entertaining, right? Because tragedy plus time equals comedy. Uh,
Sorry,
it
world.
still works. It still works. Although I really, and you know how hard it is for me, I really have to tone down some of them because I don't want people, if it's really bad, I don't want people think that I'm making light of it. So yeah, I mean, it's intentional. Like what can I put out is actually helpful to the lawyers who are searching for this, and to the experts who want to know what kind of cases we've had in the past. So.
Yeah, and I feel like I want to highlight again, it meets people where they are. So the one of the things that you see in this ebook, the Lawyers Don't Care About Your Chatbot, go to lawyersdon'tcare.com, download that. One of the things that we cover in that is that lawyers are just people. They're just in a moment. They're in a stream. They're in the same streams as everybody else, right? Like, yes, they have this particular job, and yes, you have to speak to them in a way that resonates for them. You can't do the talk to an 8th grader copywriting, but you talk to a really smart 8th grader and maybe you've nailed it, right? You have to meet people where they are. The thing that I like about these videos that you're doing, and I think a message for the people at home, is that these people are already scrolling through tragedy stories that are, I mean, there's murder mysteries. There's people putting on makeup while they talk about somebody's dead body in the background. I mean, these people are scrolling through trauma, excitement, flowers in the garden, and you have to stop them, and you cannot stop them. There are 900 ways for you to talk about being an expert witness that would not stop them in their stream, and you have to find the one that does. So this is me again commending you for, with that beautiful face.
Well, I mean, that may sell itself, right?
It's a cheap gimmick.
Yeah,
to just put this face.
I don't know that I'm paid enough for what I bring to the table, right? Let me say this as well on the content side, and this is especially for LinkedIn. The difference between me telling some kind of crazy stories from expert witnessing, which I also engage people on by letting them vote on which crazy story they want to hear, right? So I do that as a kind of a twofold. We do a lot of other content besides these, but this is the thing. What you have right now on LinkedIn is a lot of B2B BS overload, right? People telling you some elaborate story and how that, and then trying to tie it back to business, or you've got your thirst traps or whatever. And I can't do the thirst trap thing, no matter how many jokes we make about how good looking we are. It's not, I can't do it. Many others can. But there's so much text that is just probably AI created, right? Because who has the time to think about some of these things that they're posting? And it's nonsense to get to a point that I didn't even want to learn at the end. And I don't think people know that they're doing it. They think they're playing the game correctly for the algorithm, and maybe they are, but they're not standing out.
Yeah. Yeah. And I've fought with that. Like I've thought about LinkedIn's business model. If I write a post and it's specifically targeted to legal technology companies talking about how they market, I mean, this is theoretically what LinkedIn was built for. Here is a B2B niche in a space. Then here's technical advice about how to do a tactical thing that's really useful to a specific market that has money in it. You would think LinkedIn would be like, oh yeah, this is the thing. We want to put this in front of everybody. But if I go put something that's politics adjacent about the rule of law, right? That's what gets 200,000 impressions, which concerns me about LinkedIn's business model. I'm not sure how you end up making money in the long run if you go that route.
If you become Facebook.
Right. Which Facebook had to become Facebook. I mean, it used to be like gardening groups, and now it's just, everybody thinking their opinion matters. So I think you can play that game. And I will say, as a brand, if you decide you're going to go figure out the algorithm and you're going to say my puppy died and here are the 5 lessons of leadership that I learned from that, whatever, you can go play that game. You can do that thing. But I will say, somebody asked me earlier, what is the most underused medium or technique or whatever? And I said, you think short form video is overused for your niche, for legal tech. It's actually way underused. I saw a stat that said, I think of the LinkedIn users, about 1.5% are actively posting at all. Of that group, some 3% are posting videos. I mean, just mathematically, while LinkedIn is trying to drive people to short form video, you can go play the game of My Dog Died, and thirst traps, or you can go record a video that's helpful and be one of very few. I feel like they're pulling videos now that are essentially just TikTok transferred over. But if you can
It
do
is.
contextual appropriate to your niche, I really think it could work.
I think so. And let's go back to the old content marketing fundamentals, right? Do it for LinkedIn and then post it in other places, specifically YouTube, right? Because it's still your second most powerful search engine. YouTube actually probably is more powerful now than Google itself, just because the Google algorithm is just so terrible. So post
Yeah.
it for LinkedIn. You could probably share it everywhere, like Mike says. You'd probably do it on TikTok. Maybe I should do that more. Although I deleted TikTok off my, if I have to put the app back on, I
Right.
probably won't do it. Right.
Probably safest. But I mean, even
Yeah.
Instagram, I mean, there are places you can do it. I
Yeah.
also
We do it.
think,
I do Instagram and
right.
LinkedIn and YouTube.
I also think one of the issues here is, and this is a complaint I hear from people who are running legal tech companies, is, hey, what we're talking about that is not that interesting. And it's like, okay, two things. One, you're probably right. You are probably not talking about something very interesting in a very interesting way, and therefore people are not interested. That is a fundamental problem for you to go figure out how to think about something interesting, right? You're not just solving a very technical problem. You can have a mission, you can have a viewpoint, and you should go chase that. But the other one is, like, what's interesting to your weirdo people is not interesting to everybody else. You sitting and talking about how to sign up for being a representative in a court so you could be on their expert list or whatever, it's totally useless to 99.9% of human beings. But it's
I
useful to
have to
somebody.
tell. So, we have user generated content on experts.com as well. And I have to advise my experts when they want to add an article. They don't just get to add any article, because I've seen some of the, you really want them to highlight their expertise and not give us what their webmaster put together for them for SEO purposes, right? But what you want to do with that is I really have to guide them into writing to the lawyer, assuming the lawyer has no knowledge of their expertise, and not writing the article what a lawyer needs to know about hiring a agricultural expert witness. But, like, lawyers know when they need an expert. They don't need to learn about the benefits of hiring an expert from the expert who's trying to get the work, right? It's that same idea of, oh, I know what is a good piece of equipment, a good piece of content. I'm going to do this. Well, everybody's already written that. It doesn't help you stand out. Much like many of the posts we see on LinkedIn, that is just some regurgitation of what everybody else has already written.
I saw the other day the CEO of Cloudflare. I think what he was talking about was how to use search. Like, search has changed. We talked about this in another episode this week. But basically, the search is up. Google search is up, but their referrals to websites are down. So people are engaging with Google and all these other tools. ChatGPT, it's 1,500 to 1. They'll go look at 1,500 pages to refer one person to a page. It's just a crazy number. But he was asked, okay, well, what kind of content, what would you do? And he said the highly human stuff. And specifically, he said, I like to ski. If somebody goes to the mountain and will tell me, oh, on this side of the mountain, the skiing was like this, and on that side of the mountain, the skiing was like that, that is incredibly useful content that I can't get somewhere else. And so I think about, for experts, for example, as if I'm advising them on how to write content, it's not anymore trying to figure out how to win the search engine. It's how to win the search intent, right? So somebody is in there asking for updates on agriculture law, something or other. They don't want, here's 7 tips for hiring an agriculture expert. They just want the answer. Just tell them what's going on, what's your perspective that only you can add, and then answer the question. Are you guys, I assume part of why you guys did user-generated content was because it helped with SEO. It's giving you a lot of links back. There's a lot of content and information. Are you thinking differently about SEO now as AI has kind of short-circuited?
Absolutely looking about SEO differently. But I listened to our friend Guy Sakalakis on this in his lunch hour legal marketing. Guy's got tons of information on SEO. He hasn't given up on it entirely, but I am looking at it differently. Our user-generated content serves a couple of purposes. Does it help on SEO? Yeah, some of our members' articles on their own were showing up number 1 for relevant searches for their topic. So is that good for us? Yes, but what it's really good for is the expert, because once you're answering the question for the attorney, or you're describing where your services were handy before, and that fact pattern, this is right back to the fact patterns that I do in the videos, and that fact pattern is very similar to the case that they're working on. You go to that top of the list of, okay, this person really knows what they're talking about. They had this exact case. I want to talk to this person before anybody else. And sometimes that removes whether or not they're even in the state or the jurisdiction. Sometimes once you've educated the attorney, some of the other ideal requirements are kind of fade away. Yeah.
Well, and another one of our friends, Mark Homer, who worked in the legal space for a long time, he wrote a book that, among other things, talked about protecting your referrals. And what he's talking about there is branded search, right? So it's not search intent search. It's not, hey, how do I tie my shoelaces? It's shoe brand X, right? Like you're searching for the specific thing. So to loop together what we've talked about so far, if you do what you're doing and you go out to the streams where people are and you're interrupting them in ways that are interesting and compelling, Experts is going to come up over and over again. Experts.com is going to come up over and over again. And one day, those people are going to go search for Experts.com reviews, right? And at that point, you're, to use Mark's phrase, protecting your referrals. The content that you've created now is really more like sales enablement content. You do have content on your site, but what it's oriented to is not distribution. It's not drawing people to it. You got to go where people are to get that distribution. Distribution's been taken over by these other platforms. Get over it. You're not building a media business. Get people from those spaces, strip off that distribution, get them to your site, and when they're there, show them you're the place to be. Make them feel good about being there. So,
and I'll add to this. We used to talk about it all the time, about owning your own real estate, right? We've got an incredible domain name, right? On top of that, I get all the SEO arguments that have ever existed, but one of the huge benefits that we've had is that like 65 to 70% of our traffic just types in experts.com. Like because it's that simple, right? So you can spend $100,000 a year or more, $1 million a year to get all those SEO, all the search engine searches, SERPs, excuse me, the results, and then they tweak the algo on you and you disappear. But if somebody's just typing in because you own that real estate and they're coming back to you every time because it's simple to remember, that's a big deal. Do you want to plug your new domain again right after I said that? Because it's really perfect for
This
you.
is pretty good. LaursDon'tCare.com is pretty good. Yeah. And I mean, we're at a point where owning your own real estate made a lot of sense when you could monetize directly off of that website. At this point, it's What's the old Peter Drucker phrase? A business is innovation and marketing. Everything else is just cost. This thing of going out, and it's frustrating to have to learn a new platform and a new change and a blah, blah, blah. That is what makes you a business. The thing that you have, the product that you have is supposed to be responsive to somebody. It's supposed to solve a problem. You're trying to innovate around it. The rest of it's just cost. So go show up. Marketing's a real discipline. It's a real place to add value. Legal tech is very, very, very bad at it. So you don't have to be that good to
Very
win these
bad at
spaces.
it. Yeah, very bad about that. Law firms are incredibly bad at it. So some of the younger attorneys or our age or younger have really improved on the way they're putting out content. They're getting way more attention than what we've seen over the years. Yeah,
Well,
it's you can stand out in this space. And you don't need to do it with thirst traps or what I learned about business B2B marketing by watching my child,
skin their
not
knee in the baseball game. Yeah.
skin their knee in the baseball game or fail at putting the square peg in the round hole.
Yeah. Sorry,
You're not
buddy.
learning about business that way.
Your child's just not very bright. That's what we learned from this post.
Yes,
I'm
but
sorry.
this-
I'm
yeah.
sorry, buddy. Hey, Nick, thank you for bringing that beautiful face and the giant brain within it to the Lawyer Forward podcast. I think, again, you've been here probably a couple times, but never as useful as today. So I appreciate it. For those of you at home,
It was really backhanded that I was not useful last time.
Cut
But
that then, did
today-
you? For those of you who want to learn how to market like the great Nick Rishwain, go to lawyersdon'tcare.com and download your copy of Lawyers Don't Care About Your chatbot. For everyone else, we will see you on the next episode of the Lawyer Forward podcast. We're getting back to regularly scheduled programming soon. Nick, thank you, and we will see y'all later.
Thanks.